Hello all and welcome to today's video. And today I have a special treat for you. It is time to reveal and present to you my seasonal Inktense pencil palette for the upcoming spring months. As you know, probably, at least if you've been following my channel for a while already, I love to put together these curated limited palettes for each season. And the reason is that I have this huge set of Inktense pencils, and actually this is one of the very few full sets that I have of any art supplies. And very often I don't want to get these large sets because so many colors there just they're forgotten for some reason. I just love to use the ones that I'm kind of familiar with, and I have my favorite pencils and colors and I use them. So the reason for these seasonal palettes is, first of all, so that I can pick some colors, take some colors out which haven't been used pretty much at all, maybe just a few times, and also, kind of rotate the pencils so that I only have a limited amount of pencils here at my art table for each season. That way I can, as said, rotate the pencils, make sure that I also discover some new favorites. Of course, I will soon tell you which favorites kind of stay throughout the seasons. There are a few which are still here, even though they were also part of the winter palette. But the other reason is that I really enjoy working with limited palettes. And you can do so much with limited palettes, and that way you can also get to know the colors really well. So that being said, let's jump straight in and let's kind of take a look at which colors I have chosen for my spring palette. And also then I would be very happy to hear which colors you would choose, or if you are someone who enjoys these kinds of curated palettes. As said, there are a few colors which have been also part of the winter palette and that kind of get back to us this season as well. So, of course, the antique white, which is always part of the palette, and then my favorite lapis blue. Those were at least the ones that were part of the winter palette. And then I believe the darker green, I think it was the peach green, which was also part of the winter palette. But other than that, there should be lots of new inspiration that have been, I don't say collecting dust, but have been in this huge tin in the art supply drawer for the past few months at least. So as said, let's jump straight in and I will show you each color and the reasoning behind them. First, we have Sherbet Lemon. And this is a very, traditional Inktense pencil. I think this was part of the kind of basic sets that they first came out with. It's a beautiful yellow. It's like a lemon yellow, but it's a bit more greenish, I would say. And that way it's perfect for the spring season, I think, for the flowers and also trees. Next, I have here Sun Yellow. I wanted to have a bit of kind of a warmer yellow, and here you can't see that much of a difference, but once we activate it with water, we'll do that. Once we have swatched them all, then you will see the actual difference. I have Mango. I'm not usually someone who has that much orange in their palette, as you probably know by now. I'm not a huge fan of orange and I don't have that much orange, but I think actually this mango color is really pretty. And then I have here Scarlet Pink. I mean, there are so many beautiful pinks and lilacs here in the Inktense range, and it took a while, let's put it this way, it took a while for me to decide which ones I would include. But I think this set that I have here covers all the kind of spring needs. There are enough for the florals and kind of all the kind of birds and other nature subjects that I like to create and draw during the spring months. We have a Shiraz. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it's another red. And the reason for this is that I also wanted to have kind of different shades of red included in this palette. So that's why I have also that one. And then Fuchsia, which is one of my favorite colors in the Inktense range. I think this is a really pretty color. And I was very happy to now get a chance to include that in this palette for the springtime. Next, of course, we had to include Pink Flamingo. I mean, this is the, I would say, beautiful, beautiful bright pink, perfect for the kind of spring flowers, and just those, I see just those very joyful Easter and 1st of May illustrations. And then Poppy Red, another very basic, I'd say, basic Inktense color, but a beautiful basic red, really good mixing color as well. And I think it works really, really well for this palette as well. Then Sugar Plum. I think this is one of those pencils that I haven't used as much as I maybe could and should have. It is such beautiful color, you will soon see when we activate the pigment, and I'm super excited to get to work with this one and see what I can create with it. Violet Blue. Obviously we have to have a good range of purples, violets, pinks and blues for those beautiful bluebell forests and spring flowers, so that's why this one is included. And then, as said, Lapis Blue, my favorite blue for landscapes. I just love this. It's so versatile. You can use it for water, for skies, and also really, really good for birds if there are any bright blue birds. So I had to include that one, even though I think it has been part of both my autumn and winter palettes. Next is Deep Blue. As said, I wanted to have a good range of blues as well, but not too many. So I think this is actually a really, really nice addition and also complements the Lapis Blue really well. And next is Aquamarine, because why not? Why not have this chance of adding a beautiful turquoise color? I mean, this would also be perfect for a summer, but I think once we activate it, you will see, I think it's going to be very, very pretty for the springtime as well. Then let's jump into our greens, the greens that I chose for this palette. And this was hard because I wanted to include so many different greens, but there has to be some sort of balance. So I wanted to have 4 different greens that would kind of complement each other. They would work really well together, and that way cover at least most of the needs that I think that I could have whenever doing some nature drawing during spring. Of course, the first one is called Spring Green. I mean, if there is a pencil called Spring Green, how could I not include it? But it's also really, really pretty green. I think it's gonna be perfect. Then, as said, we have Beige Green. This is one that I think I had this also in my winter palette, and it has become one of my favorite greens for landscapes and nature drawings. Really beautiful darker green, because I think we need, when you will see the greens that I've chosen, you see why that needs to be included. We need a darker green. Then Lime Green. As the name suggests, this is bright, it is super pretty for spring, and if there ever is a time of year when you could use lime green in your nature drawing, I think spring months are perfect. And next, Apple Green, because, I mean, this just makes me happy. This is another color that just makes me happy. And I think this kind of quartet of greens work really, really well together. Okay, then let's move to our browns and grays, some more neutral territory. And the next two are interesting choices, I would say. First, I have here Amber. And I just love this color. And I will soon show you the next one, and then I'll talk more about Amber as well. So the next one is called Tan. And these two are pretty close to each other, actually. When we activate it, those are very close. So I did debate that, is it worth it? Can I kind of justify having both of these? Because as said, we only have 24 colors each season, so that's very limited. And having two colors which are very close to each other, that is limiting then, of course, the room for other kind of tones. But I think these two, even though they are close, they are still different. This amber color has a beautiful, I would say, bit more green tint, and tan has that, I would say, perfect ochre color to it. So I couldn't decide which one I would actually leave out because I could see use cases for both of these, and that's why they're included. And I mean, after all, it's my palette and I get to decide. That's the happy thing about curating your own palettes. Okay, next is Baked Earth. These used to actually, when I had my more limited palette of Inktense pencils, because I started with only 24 Inktense pencils. I had those for years before I purchased this huge set. So I think Baked Earth is one of those colors that was included in the 24 set. And this is one of my favorites. So I was really excited to actually get back to that color and start using it again. Next brown is Madder Brown. How can one be so excited about browns? I don't know. I think that maybe tells you that it's someone who loves to draw and paint nature subjects, because browns, they just make me very excited. And I think that these different browns, they again complement each other really well. You could see these be used for any kind of small animals or like bunnies or something like that, or then birds, or also when you do landscape painting, maybe trees, something like that. So they are going to be really good quartered as well. And then something a bit darker, I have here sepia ink, because there always needs to be also kind of darker colors included for that contrast. And last but not least is the neutral gray. Beautiful gray. You will soon see it's really pretty gray. And then, as said, we also have here antique white, which I just love to include in any kind of Inktense palettes I put together. It's perfect for those final details, so that's also included. Won't be swatching it because you wouldn't be able to see it, but it's included for sure. Let's get started with the activation, and I will kind of speed this up a bit, and then we'll talk once everything is activated with water. Here they are, all activated with water. You can see how wonderful and bright and very intense colors we have here. And maybe now if you look at this little amber swatch here, you can see why it is still very much different from the tan. Because if you look at it next to these greens, you can see that this tan actually, oh sorry, the amber actually goes really prettily with the greens, and that's the point. And then this one is much more of the kind of traditional, I would say, yellow ochre looking color. And whenever I am putting together these palettes and curating these and kind of deciding which colors I will choose, of course, the number one thing to think about is, I mean, if you want to put something like this together as well for the spring months, think about the environment that you are living in, or where you know that you will be drawing. Where do you actually get the inspiration from, and what kind of subject matters you want to create? I know that during the springtime, I'm probably going to be drawn very much to draw different birds and also flowers. That's why I have so many of these reds and beautiful yellows and purple and blue and those kind of colors, which I think are perfect for that. And also I know that I want to create small woodland creatures and trees, and kind of when I see that the nature is coming to life, and that's why I wanted to include also a good set of neutrals. But for you, this might look very different. Maybe you have some tropical birds, or maybe your spring months are much more ahead than here where I live, when actually we still have some snow on the ground, not much, but there's still some. So that means that I kind of also have ahead of me those months and weeks when we see nature actually showing the first signs of spring and first hints of green and other colors. But this is the spring palette. As said, I hope that it inspires you to also put together your limited palette. And of course, in the upcoming weeks, you will see me using this for different drawings. We will again be doing some spring bookmarks. You know me and my bookmarks. I love to make those tiny little drawings for the seasonal bookmarks. And other intense art is also coming your way. But let me know in the comments if you have put together your curated palette for the spring already, and which colors you maybe included there. I'd be super happy to hear, and maybe get also inspired by your palettes. I'm sure that they are filled with beautiful colors. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye for now.